3, 2, 1.
What's going on, everybody? It's your boy Jamie, and I'm here with
Carlene.
And we're back with another episode of Carlene plus Jamie. Something got in my throat just now.
Nevertheless, let me hear my throat. Sorry.
Yeah. All right, it's clear now. And nevertheless, we are so glad that you are rocking with us. We're so glad that you took the time to turn on your YouTube and go to our channel and you're watching this episode. Mm-hmm. We appreciate you. And as always, we're always going to ask you to like, subscribe, and to comment because we know that we're not experts and you probably have some good advice and some comments or some suggestions for this show. But also want to highlight this, that there are about 50 to 60% of you that are watching this right now and you have not subscribed. So we're going to ask you to kindly just hit the subscribe button. It's not going to hurt you. It's not going to cost you anything. It's absolutely free. It is free to get all this game that we are giving out right now to help you in your relationship or help one of your friends that's in a toxic relationship. Don't do it just for you. Do it for your friends and family. And you will be blessed. What do you say, Carly?
Absolutely, for sure. Again, thank you so much for those that went ahead and gave us a like and even a subscribe. And we just truly appreciate all the love that we've received over the course of our time in this space. We want to continue to make content, and we also want to continue to be able to be encouraged. And one of the encouragement that we receive is, of course, conversations outside of the YouTube space, but also seeing a like or seeing a subscription definitely encourages us to continue to bring quality content to our page. So thank you again.
Mm-hmm. Facts on facts. Seeing that email that says you have a new subscriber is like receiving a package in the mail.
Mm-hmm. And I think it's important for us to also understand that it's a blessing. Because when you think about 700 and something people inside of a building, that's a lot of people.
Facts.
Right? And so again, super appreciative, but I know that we have an amazing conversation for you this evening, and we just want to kind of continue in the realm of last week we talked about children and decisions and all those things, and so this week we're going to switch it up a little bit and talk about our favorite topic, which is relationships. Everyone is interested about relationship because relationships are just that ever evolving kind of thing. Like there's no like time where people are just like, so boring, so dull. No, like there's always something to learn as it relates to relationships. So I'm super excited about this conversation, and I know that you're about to lead the way with one couple in particular who's in the that's in the space.
Let me put you on the game. Okay. And let you know.
Put me on.
Because I'm really invested in part of the culture, and I understand
culture.
What's happening in the world. So I'm gonna bring you in.
Thank you for bringing me in. I appreciate it because Lord knows I'm lost in this world.
You're welcome. It's my gratitude. It's my service. My duty to do this for you. Service. Nevertheless, all right. So we get into it. Out there in the world, there are two young people in these streets. Their names are Chrisean and Blueface.
Okay.
Blueface is the male, Chrisean is the female.
Gotcha.
And they have had a very public relationship. Mm-hmm. This relationship is so public that everything is known about them because they're constantly on social media, talking about each other, angry at each other, fall back in love, angry. It's just like a never-ending cycle of this toxic relationship. 1 minute they're together, next minute they're apart. I think currently, right now, Blueface is incarcerated. I don't know how much longer he has his time to serve, but they also have brought a child into this world. Now, here's where I'll mention this last part, and I'll let you chime in. It is speculated, or a lot of people are observing this child, and it appears that this child has some developmental issues. And Chrisean appears not to be in denial and not taking it seriously. And so
You said to be in denial or not? She is or
it
isn't?
seems that she's in denial.
Oh, in denial. Okay.
And that when people will say like I think he's about 2, and certain motor skills are just not there. Eye contact, all the things, all the signs that you would be like, I think you need to get him evaluated. Blueface is out there saying she doesn't take care of my babies. She's this, she's wilding. You'll see videos of her in the studio, and the baby's there, people smoking, people drinking. It's just madness altogether. And this is a relationship that is very public. And I wonder about this relationship being so public that it may, in some cases, make some people think, younger people think, inexperienced people think that this is how a relationship should be. This is what love looks like. The fact that they keep breaking up and getting back together, arguing with each other, and just all this madness that people might look at it and say, yeah, even though, they not together, they gonna get back together, but that's what relationships are like. You know what I'm saying? Like, yo, we fight, then we get back together. So I don't know. I know that I just mentioned all of that to you. What's your response, or how do you feel about that?
Based off of what you just said, because again, apparently my ears aren't to the streets as much as yours are.
Facts.
Okay. But I definitely do. I do for sure. And I am no therapist or no, I don't have authority in that realm, psychologically, emotionally, and just kind of finding out what is the root cause of this toxicity. And of course, I wish I could be able to do that, but I'm not even going to try to pretend like I can. But I guess from what you just mentioned, it's just unfortunate that this cycle, continues. It's not the first time we've seen toxic relationships.
True.
We think about Whitney and Bobby. We think about,
Ike and Tina.
Right. Those kind of public relationships that, we don't get to see all of it. I don't think, we don't get to see all of it. We just get to see glimpses of what it is that they show us or share. But I just think it's just unfortunate that that cycle continues, especially when there's a child involved.
Yeah.
Because a child involved just means that there's just so much effects that happens that is passes down to that child, but also to other people, other children, younger people looking at that example and thinking that that's cute or it's okay to do that because look, they survive and they still together or they broken up now, but they gonna get back together and everyone is kind of very much invested in the saga, in the drama. And, it's unfortunate that that's something that we as human beings, we kind of pull towards, we engage in more than a couple that's living a right life and doing all the things, So that's pretty much all I could say about that because I really don't know anything more. It's just unfortunate.
It's very unfortunate. And I think just on the surface and because of what we little that we know, I think it's probably safe to say that like most of us, there is trauma or issues that I think they individually have and has come together. and unresolved issues or unresolved trauma. And then also too, not to make this a general statement, but it's also to add to that the inexperience and their youthfulness in regards to, or immaturity in regards to a decision of being in a relationship with someone requires maturity, right? You know, and requires you to give up certain things, certain lifestyles, certain behaviors, that when you come into a relationship that you have to say, okay, that this, we gonna take this seriously. And then even to the point of, and which can be another conversation that we can have, is how much of your relationship needs to be in public.
Right. In the public eye.
Right.
Because who's to say that there isn't some profit, you know, that happens as a result of it being public in this way.
Yeah.
But I just think it's unfortunate. But I love the fact that our platform, our show, we try to equip couples, whether married or not married, with tools to kind of avoid the toxicity, to avoid these issues that can potentially turn into bigger issues. And so I know that as we talk about toxicity, we also want to talk through like three things that will basically help you to know that you're ready for the next step. You're ready to get married, to kind of move you towards that positive, less toxic path.
Right.
Or plan.
Right. So number one, are you ready for number one?
Number one.
Number one, the color of the flag won't change just because you got married.
Mercy.
If it's a red flag, it may get light pink, but it's still going to be red.
That's right.
I think you should believe people when they show you who they are.
Correct. Yeah, I think that red flag, sometimes we try to color it, we try to make it white. And anyone knows that it's hard to go from dark to light.
Or no, you try to, I think it's green.
No.
Because the white flag means surrender. I guess you could surrender too, but green means go. Red means no.
Okay. I guess we could go there.
You tell us. We'll do a poll.
But yeah, I definitely think that from it going from red to green, it's important for you to identify that and acknowledge those red flags.
Right.
Ignoring it is probably the worst thing you can do, because you ignore it today and it becomes bigger and bigger and bigger, and it festers, and then it eats at you, it eats at your core, it eats at your relationship. And by the time you realize this very same thing that you saw, felt, but refused to acknowledge, refused to talk about, is the very thing that's eating at the core of your relationship. So I think those red flags, whatever they may be, you know what they look like. If they are not resolved, then chances are, and it's something that is huge, it's a big part of you and your relationship, sustaining a healthy relationship, not a toxic relationship, then you need to take a step back from pursuing, from moving forward, because a red flag is a red flag.
It is. Yep. It is. It is deep red. It could be bright red. It could be light red. If it's red, make sure. I was gonna try to rhyme, but it didn't come to me.
Okay,
If it's red, you might be dead. I don't know, but nevertheless. Okay. But you know, like, and I think in relationships we really like somebody, and we really like all the good parts of people, and we like them so much that we try to ignore the red flags, the toxicity, and then also too, I think that in young relationships, even like with our relationship, there were multiple red flags in both of us. But I think for me, when it came to some of your red flags that scared me, I often looked at it either as one or two things. Like, my immaturity said, but this is how it's supposed to be. Like this is what love is like. You know what I'm saying? This is what the rap videos, this is what the R&B songs are. This is what it's supposed to be like. And then the other part is also saying that it bothers me, but I'm sure when we get married, she's gonna change.
Right, it's gonna turn green.
It's gonna turn green. She's just gonna change. She's gonna realize on her own that this is something that I don't like, and that she's gonna stop it. And I think that's because when you really like somebody, you just don't see the fault in them enough to make you say, I don't want to go forward.
Yeah. And understanding that acknowledging a red flag is something that is very courageous, because you are essentially identifying something, acknowledging something that can potentially break you up.
Right.
That can potentially allow you to no longer be in relationship with this person. And of course, who wants to break up, especially when you're at that crossroad of like, yo, you're about to go to the next level. You're about to be engaged, or you're about to get married. And who wants to kind of blow that all up because of this red flag? But understanding, if you don't blow it up now, it may blow up in marriage. And I could almost guarantee that it's a whole lot money. It's a whole lot more you are spending that you would have invested in.
Yeah.
So it's important for you to do that now. It's better to do that before you walk down the aisle, before you say I do, than to say I do and then having to say, man, I wish I didn't say that because I was afraid of what other people would say, or I'm afraid of the fact that it's embarrassing, or man, did I choose wrong? Or there are not a lot of men out there that I vibe with, and this one I vibe with, his red flag is a red flag, but it's not all that bad. Like you start to make excuses for those red flags. And so I just encourage you to really do a deep dive in terms of like acknowledging the red flag, what it is, and get to the root of it as much as you can. And if you can't, go to counseling. We talk about premarital counseling and how important it is for I think the development of the maturation of a couple, even marital
counseling.
But
for sure.
Pre-engagement, that's what it is. Pre-engagement counseling. We didn't do that. I didn't even know that was a thing, honestly.
Word.
But I feel like now it's a thing.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that we leaning into, if you are afraid and you need courage and you need kind of someone to mediate that, possibly doing that as a means to help you.
Yeah, and to your point, I wanted to also highlight there's a difference between red flags and perfection, right? So like, I don't think nobody is perfect.
Correct.
We all have faults, and you're never going to marry the perfect person. But there are certain things that are imperfections, or certain things that certain people don't have that you're in love with. Mm-hmm. That's not necessarily a red flag. Correct. And so I think for you have to define what those red flags are.
Correct.
And what you can't, or what you are not willing to put up with in a marriage. So like, I think like with imperfections and some things that are just like coming short, I think those are things that you can say to yourself, you know what? I'm willing to be in a relationship to accept that. Mm-hmm. But then there's the other thing, which are like red flags, which is probably like somebody parenting you, or somebody belittling you, or by the way somebody says certain things, and just whatever it is to you that you feel like is toxic, then you need to acknowledge that, and that you need to either make a decision to say, let's get some counseling, as you said, about this. Let's talk about this. Let's deal with this, because I need you to know that I don't like this.
Correct. Let's be clear.
Let's be clear why we here. Oh, you like that, Brian?
Okay, a little.
Like that bar. They're going to be coming out.
That was a little better.
They're going to be coming out every now and then in this episode.
Okay.
All right.
Cool.
Cool.
All right. So that was number one. One way out of three to kind of know that you're ready to take the next step.
Right.
All right. Number two. Hit us with number two.
Number two, don't fall in love with the fantasy. marriage, relationships are like motion pictures.
Motion pictures, y'all.
They're motion pictures. They're not snapshots. They are motion pictures. So there's going to be drama. There's going to be suspense. There's going to be adventure. There might even be some action.
Yes, to action.
Some love.
We celebrate the action, Lord.
Some intimacy, some happiness. There's going to be all of that in a marriage. Sometimes we may fall in this utopian idea that everything is going to be smooth and everything's going to be great. And the reality is that marriage is work, and you both have to work at it. And that you decide to take a covenant with each other that we are going to fight through whatever we go through, and to respect each other. Because I want to make clear that I believe that if there's any kind of abuse in a relationship, that we do not sanction that. We do not force that. But I do believe that there are some things or some issues that you must be willing to fight with your partner to make it through. But, marriage is like a motion picture.
And I think it's important not to get caught up in the fairy tale of marriage. Maybe you may see it online. Maybe you may see it in a movie. Maybe you may read it in a book. It is important to know reality versus what reality is. Not getting leaving enough space in your relationship to where there are going to be ebbs and flows, but when there's a ebb, you're just like, yo, you're about to lose it, because the fantasy in your mind, you've built this fantasy in your mind, and you think it's supposed to be like this. And when it's not like this, you kind of lose it. And so one of the things that I know for me, I was never caught up in that fairy tale, happily ever after kind of thing. I was definitely like a moment by moment kind of person where, I meet the guy and we kind of go through those motions, but never thinking like, I want my life to be this thing, or, like creating a happily ever after, but more or less like acknowledging the reality of who we both are, not excluding it and creating a narrative or a movie about Jamie and who he is, but instead just really acknowledging who he is, accepting him for who he is, and being able to love him in the good and love him in the not so good. So I think that is a part of one of the things of knowing whether you're ready for marriage is taking your mind out of, taking yourself out of a fairy tale or trying to create a fairy tale, but you want to create something that's unique. You want to create something that's amazing with that person. And to your point, it does take work. It does take sacrifice. It takes parts of you that you didn't even know could be taken, right? But I think really focusing on who you are and who your person is that you're ready, you're just about ready to take the next step with. It's just the two of you. It's not you, the person, and Cinderella story, or you, the person, and whoever your favorite couples, maybe Jamie and I, maybe one of your favorite couples that you that you think it's perfect, but we've never done that though.
No, we haven't.
We've never painted a perfect picture, but it's just important for you to know that it's you. I keep hitting my chin on this mic, but it's you and your person. That's it. And you both have to figure out what works best for you, not creating this fairy tale or this motion picture that honestly will probably end in a nightmare.
Yeah, for sure. And I want to say that the motion picture to whoever's watching us tonight is that 9 times out of 10, you really don't know everything about your spouse.
Nope.
When you get married and you live with that person, because right now, for some of you that may be engaged or that you're dating, at this point, you're probably just hanging out with each other, going out with each other, and but y'all are not living together. And I think what's the saying? Come see me is different from come live with me. And I think in marriage, I think that what you're going to discover is that when we talk about the motion picture, that all different sorts of things and expectations, is that when you live with somebody, you begin to see all of them. You begin to see the morning, the afternoon, and the evening part of that person. And I think you have to be prepared for those surprises. Prepared for, like, I didn't know that you do that. I didn't know that you wanted that.
Yeah.
You know, and I think those are important things too, because I think you will know as much as you need to know to decide if you want to marry this person. But then you will begin to learn more about that person when you start living with that individual.
Yeah. And not only living, because there are quite a few couples who live together.
Right.
Right. And so, and they're just, dating. I just think that also what you're saying, I agree 1,000% with what you're saying.
Yeah.
I think also, sometimes people feel that marriage changes dynamics. And in some way it does. It does, for the good and sometimes for the not so good, depending on the person or the situation. But I feel like the fairy tale could say, because we live together, right? We kind of have this thing, right, where we're kind of vibing and we're doing our thing, and then we get married. It's almost like that can sometimes change.
Yeah.
Because I think when people get married, there's like a feeling, of course, you get.
Yeah, you end this.
Like, yeah, like this
Right.
is like, it feels like it solidifies it, like it brings it all together
This is
in a very interesting way, in a good way, but it's interesting how that happens.
Right.
With how the mind just shifts. And so I think it's important to be aware and be okay with, sometimes you may have moments where things aren't as hot and steamy, where things are kind of like dry and cold.
There you go. Yeah.
But being intentional about fighting and wanting it to be more than dry and cold, wanting it to be more than you have even imagined or even expected.
Yeah. You're going to have disagreements and you got to get in the same bed.
You got to get in the same
Or
bed.
you got to wake up and see that person, right? So, I mean, but I think those are all the joys of being married and being committed, because to the point that you were making, and I was thinking in my head, that with dating and living with somebody, I always feel like there's still an out, like when you're dating and living with somebody. I feel like with marriage, there is an out, but it's not as easy an out
Gotcha.
as it is with dating. Because at least with marriage now, you gotta separate. Lawyers gotta come into it. You gotta get a divorce and all that stuff. If we dating and we live together and it's not working out, all right, I'm gonna move out. It's gonna be hard.
Yeah.
It's not gonna be easy, but I do think that marriage is like a little bit more, is the step up to a like locked in. Probably,
There's no
which is
back
why,
door.
yeah, probably which is why some people just don't want to do that.
Right.
Some brothers are just like, we good right now. Why we
And
gotta go
sisters
further?
too.
Right.
I think there are definitely some women who are just like, I don't want to do it. I'm good where I am. But yeah, so that's our second thing that you must know before going to the next step.
That's right. And drum roll, please.
Is that your best drum roll?
That's my best drum
All
roll.
right.
Boom.
Okay.
Number 3.
Now, boom.
Pow.
Pow.
Psh.
Okay.
All right. Number 3. Know your why.
That's a good one. I think this is my favorite one. Like out of all 3 of them, I feel like this is my favorite one. But go ahead. Go ahead and lead the way.
You go ahead. This is your favorite one.
Yeah, I think this is my favorite one because in life, right, when we talk about our whys, we think about like the thing that drives us, the thing that allows us to continue to keep doing what we're doing, regardless of obstacles or problems or issues. That is the one thing that we can go back to say, yeah, all right, this is why I did it. Okay, this is why I chose to do this. Okay, all right, breathe. Okay, it quickly refocuses you. It quickly regulates you right back to where it is that you're supposed to be. And I think in marriage, it's so important to know your why. Like, some people get married because they're in love. They love each other. Some people get married because they realize that this person brings out the very best in them. Some people get married because they feel like this is where or what God has called them to. Some people get married because it's a partnership that they want to create with this person, and they feel like this person is aligned and in sync with their goals and their dreams and all the things they want to accomplish. And so that alignment is just like perfect. There's nothing perfect, but it's good for you. It's good for you and it's good for them. I know our why. Why did we get married? Do you know why? Do you remember why we got married? Ooh, this is good. That was an on the spot kind of question.
Yeah.
Do you remember why we chose to get married?
Well, we chose to get married because we remembered what we had been through, how we came together, and that we also have a purpose to glorify God in our relationship, and what we want to accomplish together. I don't think we knew at the time what we wanted to accomplish together, but we knew that we were a ministry and that our purpose is being fulfilled right now, right?
Amen.
I believe that this is part of our purpose, of our why to get together. And so with you asking that question, did I leave anything out?
Okay, no, not really, but yeah. So one of the foundational whys is that we truly believe that God brought us together.
Right.
Because our text is Romans 8:31.
31.
If God be for us, who can be against us?
As a matter of fact, I need to put that poster up.
You do, like right over here somewhere.
I'm gonna print it.
Okay. I think that is the core of our why we are together, because we truly believe that God brought us together. And so it's almost like the text literally says, if God be for us, we believe that God is for us, then who can be against us?
Correct.
And so we fight this fight hand in hand, not separate, not, believing different things, but believing that God is with us and that we fight together. And so that's like at the core of why we came together, as well as our goals being aligned, as our ministry goals, as well as future goals, financial goals, goals that we have, though different, but we believe in a moving forward. We believe in an upward movement.
That's right.
Together, not separate. And of course, that has looked differently over the course of our 17 years of getting married, but it has increased based on our trials and error of going through life together. I think it has brought us close together. So it's almost like at the core of who we are as Jamie and Carlene. That is what we always return to when things go awry, when things feel like, oh my gosh, what's happening? Like, I feel like where there's a disconnect, sometimes we go through those moments of disconnectedness, if that's even a word, I think it is, that we can always return back to that why.
Absolutely. And I was going to say, before you asked that question, I'm glad you did, because it leads into the point that I wanted to make was, whether you are a believer or whether you are not and you're watching our show, I think that whoever you are with, that significant other, I believe that you are brought together for a purpose and a reason. And whatever that purpose and that reason is, you have to define that at some point in your relationship. And I believe that's what will keep you together. And like you said this, and it came to my brain. Our why holds us accountable to each other because it always brings us back to our calling together. And outside of that calling, then we were not fulfilling it.
Right.
And so whenever we, in our brain, when things get rough or things get tough or we have a disagreement, we know that our text says, if God be for us, who can be against us? And our why is because we were placed together by God for a purpose and a reason. And because we love God so much, we want to make sure that we're fulfilling that mission. And so that's always a core
That's good.
of our relationship. And I just want to say that whether you are a believer or not a believer, there has to be some thread or some accountability to be able to hold, or not to hold, but to hold your relationship together through the thick and the thin. That what is it that you two are destined to do together?
Yes.
What is it that you two, who are you going to bless? What are you going to fulfill? What are you going to do in this world that you need each other to do it together? And I think maybe that's partly why some relationships don't start like that or don't have that part in it. Why it's easy to walk away. Because it's not easy for me to walk away from you because I know that there is still a lot more than what we're doing right now that we have not even touched as yet.
Yes. Very true.
That why, man, I can't express how important it is.
Yes.
To keep you accountable, to keep you together, and to keep you focused on you, because what we can do, what we will do together, I can't do it with anybody else.
Correct.
Because nobody is you and nobody is me.
Correct.
And so no matter what we go through, I'm going to stick it through and through with you.
Correct.
Boom. Bars. You didn't even know that was in there.
Okay.
You didn't even know that was coming.
Okay, Jamie.
You didn't know that was coming.
You still going? I'm sorry. I didn't know. Okay. You caught me off guard.
Caught you off guard, but I'm nice with it.
Yes. Yes, you are. Yes, you are, dear husband. So that, I think that's why this was my favorite one. And I feel like we left the best for last. Those three things that you look for in order for you to know that you are ready to take the next step. And your why is at the core of your existence as a couple. And this was really good.
This was real good.
Like, I thoroughly enjoyed this conversation. I hope you guys did as well. This has been great. I was going to say more, but this has been great. And we would love for you to go ahead and share, if you so please. If you feel so impressed to share this episode with anyone essentially that is about to take the next step. They're talking about it, they're thinking about it, and you kind of want to make sure that they are ensuring that they're taking the right steps towards having a successful marriage. And of course, success looks different to everyone, but I think it's important for those steps that we mentioned to be taken, to be thought about, to even just be, for you to just be aware of.
Right.
Those things. And so we're grateful for you all rocking with us for these few minutes, and we just hope that you guys will join us again on another episode of Carly plus Jamie. Any last words, Jamie?
Nope, no last words. Just know your why. The flag color won't change, and relationships is like a motion picture. That's why I'ma stick with you. Peace.
This is your girl Carly.
This is your boy Jamie.
Peace.